When you work, do you think on the possibility of recognition by institutions, by the Academy, by the BAFTA?
I really don't. But there's nothing, I think, more gratifying than having your peers respect your work and recognize it. I think it can oftentimes be a double-edged sword. My first film, Crazy Heart, was well received, and it makes the bar very, very high. But those are challenges that I really want to meet, and I couldn't be more proud of the film. So, that kind of recognition just hopefully opens the picture up to a much wider audience.
For me, it's a wonderful family story. I mean, they have all these ties. They're very, very much, childhood really determines who these people are, in a way, right?
Indeed it does. You can't often escape your past, and these three men, their bonds were forged in the projects of South Boston, right? And because of those very close ties, it led to disastrous consequences, and one man is still in prison because of his sense of loyalty to Whitey Bulger.
What I think is amazing is how the relationship between the FBI and the Irish family and what they do against the Italians. Can you explain a little without giving anything much away?
Indeed. As one FBI agent is ascending the ranks of the FBI, he uses his relationship with the Irish Americans, because he's Irish, to help bring down the Italian mafia in Boston. So it's essentially these childhood friends who help bring down the Italian mafia so that the Irish mafia can flourish, while this FBI's agent's career can also flourish. And in South Boston in the 1970s and 80s, certain criminals and certain lawmen were virtually indistinguishable. And it's that intersection of politics and crime and the way they interweave that I think makes for a compelling narrative.
In a way, it's also like a Robin Hood story, because Jimmy brings, he's very loved. He does good things with methods that are not legal, but, who cares at the end, in a way?
Well, many people in South Boston revered Whitey Bulger as a mythical, almost Robin Hood figure. In fact, I like to often use non-actors in my films for smaller parts. And I asked an elderly lady if she would like to play Mrs. Bulger. And she said to me she had no interest whatsoever. I said, well, why don't you think about it? And I'll come back in a couple of days and we can discuss it. And she said, I have no interest in being in your film. The Bulger brothers are very good to this neighborhood and very good to me. Please leave.
That's incredible. And having Johnny Depp as Jimmy, you really, he transforms, but you transform him as a director, no? He looks different.
Well, Johnny Depp is a national treasure, and I think he's one of our great actors who takes big risks with every part, risks that most movie stars wouldn't take. The physical transformation, I thought, would be easier, because Johnny transforms a lot, and we had archival footage and surveillance footage of Whitey Bulger that we could really, really mimic, and we got that right. But the big transformation was taking a man, as Johnny Depp is, who is very soulful and very kind and very gentle, and turning him into a man who's very cold and chilling and calculating and extremely violent.
Would you say that there's a difference between laws and rules? Because the film deals with that too a little.
There are laws and there are rules in South Boston, as there are in the federal government, in the federal system. And they're very shaded. The truth is elusive. The justice system oftentimes doesn't work, because one man is now in prison for 40 years while other criminals that I chronicle in the film are walking the streets of Boston today. So it's a really interesting look at South Boston during that time and our federal FBI system.